Hello, peace, much love. Today I'm going to talk about being on the MiniMed 630G insulin pump in Canada. So if you're American, you'd have to make the differentials of the blood sugar levels and that if I say any of those, because here in Canada, like right now, I am 8.5, and that's not the standards that it says that you would go by in the States, for instance. But I started on my insulin pump 10 months ago. 10. I started the process of getting it over a year ago. A year and 2 months. Or more, actually. Because it took me about 6 months to a year just to get all the paperwork, the research, and that, because I'm a type 2 diabetic that pills don't do anything, just insulin. And, of course, exercise and diet. And so ADP doesn't fund me because I'm not classed as type 1. That's life. I pay a monthly fee for my pump over a 4-year time period. If you've watched any of my other videos, that depends on, you get $2,000 off when you're lower income and you do the paperwork and you get approved, and that's with Medtronic. Omnipod doesn't have that, and I don't know about the TSlim, which is the newer pump that's available in Canada, because I'm sticking with what works for me, and that's the Medtronic insulin pump. Now, please don't be confused thinking that this is the Medtronic 670G, because the 670G, the closed loop system that just came to Canada in December, is right now only approved if you're a type 1 diabetic, not if you're a type 2 that uses an insulin pump. In the year's time, well, actually, no, not a year's time, 10 months, but in the first 2 months, I started using my insulin. I got it around July 26th. I started my pump for the first day on August 18th, 2018, and I had my first A1C since starting the pump in the beginning of October 2018. My A1C at that time was 6.8, down from a 9.5. I had never been below a 9.5, was my lowest for 10 years or more. And to get an A1C that was in the normal range at 6.8, wow, that awesome. And in 2 months on the pump, it changed it that drastically. And the next A1C that I had was 6.9. It was up 0.1. And I just recently had my third A1C since I've been on the pump, and that A1C was 7.6. So it's creeping back up some. And for me, I want to check and make sure. It could be that it's warmer weather. That affects my blood sugars. The heat makes my sugars go up. As well as I'm under a lot of stress. Stress makes your sugars go up. So I need to look. Because looking at A1Cs, a 6.8 or a 6.9 or 9.5, or my recent one is 7.6. It's what it is for me and what it means for me and my diabetes, not what it means for my mom's if she was on a pump, or even if she, like her A1C, or who's in her 60s, or my sister, or my aunt, all of who have diabetes. Now, each individual, you gear what your A1C is based on all sorts of factors. But I'll do a video on A1Cs another time. But the journey, if you watch and go back in the videos, the journey for the insulin pump was an impressive one that I do not regret. I started out by contacting ADP to find out what the legalities were and if it was possible as a type 2 to get one covered. I talked to ODSP, I talked to my local member of parliament. And then I went to contact the companies and ask if they had any plans or that one could do. And Omnipod said no, they didn't. And I'm not going to say Omnipod is good or not good because I don't know. I never used Omnipod. I used a tester which didn't have a needle or that. And so the tester, the sample, it didn't stay on me for even 2 hours. Not even. But I could have learned and been taught ways to do it, but it just wasn't financially feasible for me. And because Medtronic is working for me, I'm not going to turn around and go to the TSlim. Now, the TSlim is available in Canada, and I have spoken with my diabetic team briefly about it, and I'll ask them some more questions just to see if it's available for type 2s and if they have a payment program and stuff, that when I get my next pump, maybe, but I doubt it. I am so happy that I can go out, I do my finger pricks because, as I said, the 630G isn't a closed loop. But I can click like this and go, okay, my blood sugar is 8.5, or, oh, the battery's yellow, which I use rechargeable batteries. So then I press and I go, and I can go down and go, oh, okay, I have 171.3 units. I started this one reservoir at 12 a.m. on the 26th, and now is the 27th, so I started it yesterday. And my battery life is medium, which it'll last pretty good. Now I use the back arrow, and to go to sensor, my next calibration is at 1:43 p.m. And I have 3 days at 1 hour and 45 minutes until I need to change my sensor, and my sensor battery is 73%. And you will find that one of the most important, if your ISIG, which mine right now is 29.83, if that is low and you need to do your blood sugar, you want to put it off until that's higher, because it'll deny the calibration, and if it turns down 2 calibrations that in a row, then you have to change your sensor. So you want to check your ISIG before you check your blood sugar. When you change your sensor or your insulin set, you want to stand up to insert them. There's all sorts of different things. I should do a tips and tricks, things that I've learned video. But at 10 months, getting close to a year on the MiniMed 630G, I am extremely satisfied. I would recommend to any diabetics out there, type 1 or 2, that is on multiple shots of insulin a day, to try it. If you're a type 2 diabetic and you're on multiple shots of insulin a day, and you want to, try fight to get the insulin pump. I am trying really hard, and I will continue to fight to have it so that people who are type 2 diabetic have equal rights and access to the insulin pump. Yes, it's a life changer and it needs to be there for type 1s. I'm not denying that. But type 2s that take multiple shots, 5 or more shots of insulin a day, need to have that equal access. If the endocrinologist and diabetic team can prove that, say that you need it and it will benefit you, and it does, like it is me, and then as a type 2, you should be qualified. I shouldn't have to be denied the equal access to funding for something that has made me healthier, something that has brought my A1C down, something that has made me stay in range a ton more. I no longer feel like I'm having a major low if I'm below an 8 or a 9. I can be a 4 or a 5 and not feel shaky or like I have a low blood sugar. I can wait and know without even testing that my blood sugar is above a 10 because my body has started to regulate what it is normally, because I'm used to lower blood sugars now. I'm used to being between 4 and 10, the odd 12 or 13. And that's when I do things that I really shouldn't, or I haven't bolused properly, or that type of thing. But I highly recommend to each and every one of you, even if you're sorry about that. Oh. It's my alarm. Forgive me. That was not only my cell phone, but it was my alarm. Sorry about that. Now, if you're a type 2 diabetic and you take multiple shots of insulin a day, look into it. Ask questions. Email me. Message me. And I'll answer you. And I'll give you any advice or knowledge that I can. So, 10 months on the MiniMed 630G, loving it, and I won't go back. As long as I am deemed diabetic and my body is not processing what I eat properly and keeping my sugars at a proper thing, I will continue to use my insulin pump and loving it. Peace out. Much love. Take good care. Bye-bye.